So very good afternoon everybody, hope you all are doing really well. I am CS Subrita Agrawal, your faculty for ACCA AA, AAA and law subjects. And my dear friends, today is a very special video because today we are going to discuss about Audit and Assurance as a paper in detail, and we are also going to discuss about what should be your strategy when you prepare for June 2026 attempt. So this video is going to be very relevant for everybody who is preparing for AA in June 2026 attempt. Okay, and I would seriously request you that if you like the video, please hit the like button, please subscribe to the channel, because we are going to bring a lot of revision videos, a lot of sessions for you which are going to be very helpful for you. So my dear friends, let's quickly start with the paper understanding first. The name of the paper is Audit and Assurance, but going forward we would call it as AA. Okay, now when I talk about the objective of this paper, so is it important for us to understand the objective? Yes. Why? Because once you understand the objective of a paper, you would be able to understand that what level of study you need to do. Do you need the working knowledge? Do you need the expert knowledge? How do you need to frame your answers? Do you need to give conclusions or not? Okay, so we will be discussing about the objective. Then we will be discussing about the exam format. We are going to discuss about the exam format. What is section B question? What is section A question? Is there any section C question? What is going to be the format? What is going to be the weightage of objective type questions versus the descriptive type questions? Then we are going to discuss about how AA relates to your other paper. How is it related to FA? How is it related to FR? How is it related to SBR? How is it related to AAA? Then we are going to discuss about the overview of AA, that is what kind of chapters are covered inside this particular topic, what kind of topics are covered, what could be the testing criteria of the examiner. We are going to discuss about that. Then we are going to discuss about the syllabus in a little more detailed manner, and then we are going to go for the discussion of the main capabilities that you should be able to develop as a AA student. And if you have these capabilities as a AA student, then you will definitely pass in your June 2026 attempt. So we will be discussing about that. Then we will be discussing about the importance of technical articles. Do we need to read it? If we have to read it, then what are the technical articles that we should refer? And then we are going to discuss about some FAQs, and then we are also going to go for the batch details. Okay, so that is how we have to cover. Those are the topics that we have to cover in this particular video. But I would also request you that whenever you face any query, any doubt, please feel free to write it on the chat box. I would be happy to look at it. I would be happy to answer it for you. Okay, so now let's quickly start with the objective. Knowledge and understanding of the process of carrying out the assurance engagement and its application in the context of professional regulatory framework. Knowledge and understanding of the process of carrying out. Process of carrying out as in, it starts from the acceptance stage of the audit. How do you accept the audit? How do you plan the audit? How do you execute the audit? And how do you complete the audit? All parts. Okay. Then develop understandings of basics of audit. When I talk about basics of audit, it includes risk assessment. It includes understanding of the business. It includes the basic terminologies like professional skepticism, ethics, the role of ethics in the audit area, what is the importance of non-assurance services, all of that. Okay, then aims to strike a balance between technical knowledge as well as a practical application of this knowledge. That is, you should not be only well versed with the technical text that is available. You should always be able to understand it and apply it to a real life scenario, and that is why some of your questions might be a case study question as well, be it in the MCQ format, be it in the descriptive format. I hope this is clear. Hope this is clear. Yes. Now let's go to the discussion of the exam format. Very important discussion for you, because a lot of students make mistake over here. When I talk about the exam format, what is more important here is that it's a 3-hour exam. So not 3 hour 15 minutes, no, it's a 3-hour exam. Okay, 3-hour exam. That is something that you should remember. Then 2 sections are there, so not 3 sections. Section C is not there, no, there is only section A, there is only section B. Then all questions are compulsory, that is, there is no choice. You know, in some of my batches, when I say all questions are compulsory, so students say that yes sir, it should be compulsory. No. In some professional examination, there is a choice that is given. Say from question 2 and 3, opt one or choose one. But here all questions are compulsory. There is no choice that is given. Okay. Then section A. Then when I talk about section A, so section A is 3 objective test cases with 5 objective type questions worth 2 marks each. That is, there would be 3 case studies. Every case study would include what? 5 objective type. So 3 into 5, that is 15. And each objective type question would be of 2 marks. So total 15 into 2, 30 marks. 30 marks of MCQ. So it does not have 20 marks of MCQs. No, it has 30 marks of MCQs, unlike other skill level paper. Okay, then each case and total 30 marks would be there. Then section B would be 3 scenarios with 2 or more requirements. Can there be 2 requirements in one case scenario? There could be 2, there could be more, there could be 4, 5 as well. Yes, there could be 4, 5 as well. Okay, so there would be 3 other case scenarios in the descriptive format, that is section B, and there could be 2 or more case scenarios inside each one of them, and it would be totaling 70 marks. So 30 marks of MCQs and 70 marks of the descriptive part. It is unlike the other skill level paper where either like law paper where 100% is objective, or like other papers where 40% is objective and 60% is descriptive. Now let's talk about the relational diagram linking AA with other exams. Before we read what is written over here, let me explain it to you. Okay, tell me one thing. You have understood IFRS and IAS in your FR paper, right? You have understood basic accounting in your financial accounting. You will be using the advanced version of IFRS or the detailed knowledge of IFRS in your SBR paper, and you are going to learn international standards on auditing in this paper, and then you are going to use it in your AAA paper. That is what is the relation diagram, no? But so you told us about the relational diagram between accounting and auditing. So let me tell you, my dear friends, this is like two best friends. Why? Whenever you go for auditing, okay, say you have to audit whether this pencil has been capitalized or not. Okay, so you will capitalize the pencil also. Yes, this is an expensive pencil, right? So I'll have to capitalize it. Now when I talk about the pencil here, whether it has been capitalized correctly or not, that is what auditor has to check, right? But how will the auditor decide whether it has been capitalized correctly or not? So by whether it has been capitalized as per the relevant accounting standards, right? So that is why it is very important for us to understand that audit is incomplete without the knowledge of accounting, and that is why it becomes very important for you to remember the concepts that you have studied in FA and FR while attempting your AA paper. And similarly, whatever you have studied in AA, you should remember it when you appear for SBR and AAA paper. Okay, so now financial accounting and financial reporting paper is related to audit and assurance, because the knowledge that you have gained there would be used here, and the knowledge that you are gaining up to here would be used in strategic business reporting and advanced audit and assurance, that is AAA paper. Hope this is clear. Hope this is clear. Yes. Now let's talk about overview of AA. So first we will be discussing about overview, then we will be discussing about the detailed syllabus. Yes, overview of AA. Regulatory framework including ethical requirements and corporate governance. So sir, we are going to discuss about the professional or the accounting framework. Yes, we are going to discuss about ethics. Yes, we are going to discuss about corporate governance. Yes, we are going to discuss about ISAs. Yes. So accept audit engagement, how the audit engagements are accepted. Then understand the entity and its environment. Why is it important? See, what is the audit process? First thing, what you do is you accept the audit. You decide whether you want to accept the audit or not. So can there be any factors due to which we might not be able to accept the audit? Yes, there might be certain factors due to which you might not be able to accept the audit as well. We will be discussing it under the relevant chapter. Okay. Now when I say that whether you have accepted the audit or not, so now you have decided that you will be accepting the audit. What you will have to do? You will have to design your audit procedures. To design your audit procedures, you will first of all have to understand the entity, because say what works for an education giant might not work for a cement giant, right? Because every entity has different risk, every entity has different processes, so the audit procedures would also have to be different. And to decide those audit procedures, first of all we will have to understand the entity, right? Then we talk about assess the risk of material misstatement. Why? Because see, risk of material misstatement would be present, but do you need to solve all the risk? Do you need to mitigate all the risk? No. You will have to evaluate that what risk is important for you, what risk has the potential of converting into a bigger risk, and then you will prioritize them over the normal risk first, right? So that is the assessment of risk of material misstatement. Then you will have to decide whether effectiveness of control is expected. Effectiveness of control, for example, if I have a control in my institution that only the people who have, or only the students who have followed a due process, they should be able to watch my lectures, okay? But I do not have a strong control over the lectures, so my lectures are getting downloaded and spread over on say YouTube only, right? Now my dear friends, in this particular case I have a weaker internal control, so my auditor will have to decide that based on my control efficiency what they expect, whether the controls would be working effectively or not. So if yes, they'll have to perform the test of controls. What is this? Test of controls is basically, like I told you, that there is a strong system in my organization that every person who wants to attend my lectures, they'll have to follow due process. So the auditor will test that how many times the due process has been compromised, is there any deviation, is there any deficiency in this internal control, and if they are satisfactory, then they will be reducing the substantive procedure. What are substantive procedure? Substantive procedures are basically the procedures that are used to do the number audit. When I say number audit, what do I mean by it? So test of controls talks about the process, but what is the actual quantitative impact on the financial statements, that would be talked about, or that would be verified by substantive procedures. Okay. Now, effective control expected, if the answer is no, then you will have to do what? You will have to communicate the deficiencies. You will have to communicate the deficiencies, and you will have to perform all the audit procedures for the number audit. And whom you will communicate this deficiency to? So you will communicate this deficiency to management or those who have a governance based on the significance of the deficiency. Okay. Then the final review would be done, auditor's report would be issued and would be submitted to the management. Now let's talk about syllabus. My dear friends, what I am going to do is I am going to talk about the syllabus here, which is audit framework and regulation. So I am going to talk about the sections in detail. Okay. What you should do is you should have a notepad by now. You should be able to write everything, because I am not just going to read it, I am going to explain what is covered inside this. Okay. So audit framework and regulation. Audit framework and regulation. So here we will be discussing about how audit as a profession is managed globally. So what are the institutions that creates the international standards on auditing? What are certain institutions that every auditor should be a part of? How the overall system of auditing is managed and governed across the globe. Okay, we are going to discuss that. We are also going to discuss about the professional ethics here. We are also going to discuss about the external audits here. Now, planning and risk assessment. Here we will be discussing about once you accept an audit, how do you plan for it? So planning starts after the completion of the last year audit or from the completion of the current year financial year. So the audit planning starts after the completion of the last year audit only, if it is a continuous audit, if it is a continuing audit. Okay, and it goes up to the completion of the current year audit. So it's a very big area. Here we'll have to discuss about what is the risk, what is the risk assessment, whether you have to perform the test of controls, what is the quantum of the test of details, substantive procedures. We'll have to discuss about all of that. So ultimately we will have to decide the processes here on how do we want to conduct the audit, what kind of people we need in the audit, will we need any external consultations, if yes, what kind of consultations, what kind of assessments we need to do during those consultations, and finally we'll have to check that whether we will be able to obtain reasonable assurance or not. Then internal control. Here we will be talking about systems of internal control. Like I told you about a very small control in my organization today, right? There are hundreds of other controls that are there in my organization. So we will have to discuss about all of those controls, how they are used in the process of audit, and how the test of control happens by the auditor. Then we'll also have to discuss about communication of internal control. Like we said that if there would be any deficiency in internal control, we will have to communicate to management or those who have a governance. So we will have to discuss about each one of them. Then the scope of internal audit function, outsourcing and internal audit assignment. So we'll have to discuss in detail about the internal audit also. Then the next section would come for audit evidence. When I talk about audit evidence, what do we mean by audit evidence? Let's discuss about it. Okay. So if I tell you that to test this particular control, that whether every student who has followed the due process before attending my lecture. So one of the procedure that auditor is doing is auditor is going to a sample of a student. The auditor is asking them that whether you have followed the due process. If yes, please show us the document, please show us the receipt. Okay. Now in this particular case, is the auditor performing an audit procedure? Yes. This is generally an inquiry procedure, and if the receipt is also checked, it becomes an inspection process also, right? So whether this would qualify as a relevant procedure or not, even if it is a relevant procedure, whether it is able to generate the audit evidence required to draw conclusions or not, whether there would be more audit evidences that might be required or not. Okay, all of that is very, very important. Auditor might also check the bank payment certificate, that yes, a payment has been received from bank, right? So all of that, assertions, audit procedures, audit sampling. Like I told you, test samples would be taken, not every student would be asked. The audit of specific items, it could be specific items of the financial statements. Okay. Then the automated tools and techniques. When I talk about automated tools and techniques, what do I mean by it? So there are CATs also. CATs or CAT? No, CAT as in CAAT CAT. CAT means computer assisted audit techniques. Excel, Power BI, Python, a lot of CATs are used in the audit these days, right? Now the work of others. Who are these others? See, my dear friends, whenever you think that there are other people not present, generally they are present. Okay, so in case of audit also you might think that it is only done by the auditor, but no, other people are always present. Okay, now when I talk about the other people here, other people means management's expert, auditor's expert. Okay, these could be the or internal auditor, these could be the other people. Not for profit organization, there are special considerations for this audit, we'll have to discuss about each one of them. Now review and reporting. When I talk about review and reporting, so we go to the completion stage of the audit, where we are going to discuss about the subsequent events, we are going to discuss about the going concern. But sir, we have already discussed it in case of accounting, right? FR we have already discussed, but this is not similar to FR. In case of subsequent events, we'll have to discuss in detail about how the subsequent events, see how it will be accounted, you have discussed in FR, but how it will be reported in the audit report, that you will have to discuss over here. And in fact, you will be amazed to know that the definition of subsequent events, same subsequent events, is differed or is different in case of FR and in case of AA. Of course, in case of AAA also, right? So this is different, and that is why it is very important for us to understand it from a whole new point of view, because the definition in itself is different. Okay, now going concern. When I talk about going concern, so we have only discussed in FR that going concern is the ability of an organization to continue its operation for foreseeable future, right? That is something that we have discussed. But how do we need to report it? What if there is any material inconsistency, material uncertainty related to going concern? So we will have to discuss about it. Then written representations. This is very, very important, because this is the only evidence, only document that could give you the evidence for the management's intention. A lot of times you discuss in FR syllabus or in FA syllabus that as per the intention of the management, right? Now, who will provide the evidence for intention of the management? So this written representation is the only document that provides you the evidence for the written representation for the intention of the management via written representation. Hope this is clear. Now, audit finalization and final review. So everybody reviews it. Say the work of the AM would be reviewed by manager, then senior manager, then director, then partner. The independent auditor's report, finally how the audit report is created, and what are the considerations that are there in the auditor's report. Then we are going to discuss about some employability and technology skills. Now let's talk about the main capabilities. But before moving further, please tell me if up to this it is clear or not. Yes, up to this it is clear or not? Yes, up to this it is clear or not? Then we will move further as well. Clear? Great, great, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's talk about the main capabilities that you should be having as a AA student, because if you are unable to develop these capabilities during studying AA, then you might not be able to clear your examination. So explain the concept of audit and assurance in the functions of audit, corporate governance, including ethics and professional conduct. So this sounds like a question, it could be asked in the examination. Now demonstrate how the auditor obtains and accepts audit engagements. We have already discussed about it, right? Obtains an understanding of the entity and its environment, assess the risk of material misstatement, we have discussed all of them, and plans an audit of financial statements, we have discussed that also. Now describe and evaluate internal controls, we have discussed, we have described one internal controls, we have discussed how we will evaluate, how we will test. Techniques and audit tests, including IT systems, information technology systems. Identify and describe the work and evidence obtained by the auditor and others also. We have discussed what do we mean by others, management's expert or auditor's expert. One example of this is when I went to one of the audits, I wanted to value or I wanted to check the balance and the quantity of the oil reserves. Now I am not trained to calculate the oil reserve balance, right? So I had to hire an expert over there. Now explain how the consideration of subsequent events and going concern will affect. We have already discussed, and demonstrate employability and technology skills. This is something that we have already discussed about. Now let's talk about the technical articles. So I have given a list of technical articles from various areas that you should be reading. Now let's come to the FAQs. Okay. Do we need to quote ISA numbers? Do we need to quote ISA numbers in AA paper? No, my dear friends. You do not need to quote ISA numbers, it's not required. If you quote, definitely it's a good point, but even if you don't quote, it's not necessary. Can we use bullet points in answers? In fact, it is recommended only. Yes, but complete sentences unless the requirement is to list. So you'll have to mention the complete sentences, but you'll have to mention in the bullet points. Could a 20-mark question be set on audit reports? Generally not. Generally it is not set. But what is important here is that the right to decide what kind of questions would be asked is with the ACCA body. So we will not project it, but generally it is not likely. Could candidates be asked about business risk? So generally when I talk about business risk, it is not part of the AA syllabus. So sir, where do we study it? We discussed it in AAA syllabus. Business risk basically means the operational risk. Okay, is monetary unit sampling examinable? Yes. So what is it? This is one type of sampling. This is examinable. Could candidates be expected to pick a sample? No. See, it might not happen that you will be given a population and you are asked to pick a sample. No, that might not be possible. Now, is error projection examinable? What is this? Say you have verified the population, you have verified the sample of the population, and you said that this one sample contains error. So what could be the error in the overall population? No, that is not examinable generally. But what is more important here is that real data might not be examinable, the concept might be examinable, and that is why we have written here yes. See, it might not happen that you will be given a real data where one error is there and you will have to project it, but it might be asked as an example, it might be asked as a knowledge point. Okay, now when I talk about the batch details, so my dear friends, the AA batch is starting from today. That is why we have considered this as an orientation session where we have discussed everything about the AA syllabus. Okay, now when I talk about our batch details, so we have divided the batch into multiple parts. One part of it is the concept lectures. When I talk about the concept lectures, so the concept lectures would be delivered to you in the recorded mode. It would be fully in the English language. And why it is very important for you? Because in case of audit, the biggest problem, the biggest difficulty that every student face is regarding the language. So you will have to study it in the English language only, and that is something that would be very important for you. Okay, so what is this IFRS brush up lectures? A lot of times what happens is there is a gap between FR subject and AA subject, although it is highly recommended that you either appear for FR and AA together, or you appear for AA just after FR. But even if there is a gap, okay, just in case you have forgotten the IFRS standards, IAS standards, then we will be offering you a brush up lectures also. You will have to request it. We will be offering it to you for free. Now, question practice sessions, these are going to be again in the recorded mode, fully English method. So why recorded mode? Because question practice is something that you should attend end to end. A lot of times what I have seen is when I have conducted in the live mode, a lot of students have joined a little late, because of which they were not able to understand the entire question. That is why this time I am providing it in the recorded mode. However, I would be able to discuss the doubts with you either on WhatsApp or on the app, or on Monday 8 PM IST as well. When I talk about this part, Monday 8 PM, this would be a live lecture just like this one. You will be able to write all your queries. I would be happy to discuss it. Having said that, I would also be available on WhatsApp as well as app 24/7. When I say 24/7, it means the business hours. Okay, now query and doubt support during live sessions as well as on app. Mock test, yes, there would be 5 mock tests that would be conducted, 3 unit tests, 2 full syllabus tests with evaluation directly by me. I would be evaluating it, I would be connecting it with you for the improvement part. Okay, now what will you get? So you will get hard copy of AA summary notes, hard copy of AA question bank. So this question bank will consider questions from all the resources that are relevant for you. I have selected a lot of questions, and for every chapter there are multiple questions that are being mentioned over here. Handwritten summary notes, so just like this handwritten, yes, just like this handwritten, it would be very easier for you. My dear friends, in the last few attempts we have seen that, especially in the last attempt when I launched the hard copy of the summary notes, a lot of students praised it. You can go to my Instagram, you can go to my YouTube channel, and you can see that a lot of students have said that these notes were very helpful for them during their preparation in the examination also. Okay, and class board notes, yes, I would be providing the board notes as well, so that you can complete it and you can have the complete understanding. Now start date is 15th March like we have discussed, and it would be mid of May, so that you are able to prepare for your examination. Will we provide the revision sessions? Yes, we will be providing the revision sessions. Will we provide the pre-scene? Yes, we will be solving the pre-scene with you in the live mode. Duration would be approximately 75 hours. Around that, I would say 35 hours to 40 hours is of concept, and remaining is of question solving. Validity would be of 3 months, but you can extend it to a further 3 months on request to a team. With this, we have completed all the details, my dear friends. Now I would just like to tell you that if you really liked this particular session, please hit the like button. Please share it with your friends who are going to appear for AA either in June attempt or on September attempt. And my dear friends, this batch would be applicable for everybody who is going to appear for June attempt as well as September attempt. Don't worry about it, my dear friends. Now I would like to explain a very important concept to you, okay, which is beyond this syllabus. My dear friends, you need to understand this one thing, that whenever you are understanding any subject, okay, you should understand it from a person who has actually lived it, who has actually felt it. In my case, I have been into EY, I have been into KPMG, I have been into Indian audits, I have been into international audits at my job at KPMG Bahrain, and I can for sure tell you that I am going to bring all those real insights into your sessions and you are going to love it. Why? Because audit is considered as a very theoretical subject, but in my opinion it's not a theoretical subject, it's a very practical subject. But what you should be able to do is, even you should not understand it from real examples. What you should understand is, you should be able to get into the shoes of the auditor whenever you understand audit, and once you are into the shoes of the auditor, you will find that audit is a very logical subject. The terminologies that are used are very accurate. Even if we slightly change the terminologies, the whole answer would change, and then you will start understanding that how important is the auditing concepts, how easy they are, and you will definitely feel the significance of it as well, and you are going to love the subject. For any queries, please feel free to reach out to me. I have mentioned all the relevant links of my Telegram, YouTube channel, Instagram channel, the Teams number, the website, everything on the description box. Please feel free to reach out to me just in case if you face any difficulties. Please feel free to let me know. I have also mentioned the orientation session, the links of the demo lectures, the link of the revision sessions in the description box, so that you can easily refer it. After that, if you have any queries, please feel free to reach out to me. I have mentioned my number as well in the